Arthur Pendleton was a ghost in the Pharaoh's Fortune Casino. He moved through the halls unnoticed, his faded gray uniform blending into the marble and steel. For 15 years, he pushed the same brass cart filled with mops, buckets, and polish. His job? Clean up the messes left by others. He worked the midnight to 8 a.m. shift when the casino was most vulnerable. Arthur saw everything, but no one saw him. 58, with a bad back and rough hands, he lived a quiet, solitary life far from the strip. He was just Art, the old janitor, ignored, underestimated. But Arthur had an eidetic memory. He listened, observed, and collected secrets. Affairs, debts, security routines. He was invisible, but he knew the casino's inner workings better than anyone. With a master key card, he accessed every hidden artery of the building. While gamblers saw spectacle, Arthur saw flaws. He saw the cracks in the armor. In the solitude of his work, a plan began to form. It was audacious, impossible for anyone but a ghost. He was tired of being invisible. He was ready to become a legend. The staff saw only a janitor, but Arthur was always watching. He memorized security patterns, overheard secrets, and mapped out vulnerabilities. No one ever questioned the janitor. He had access, opportunity, and patience. The casino's greatest weakness was the man they never noticed. Arthur was the invisible man, holding a universe of secrets, and now he was ready to use them. The legend of Arthur Pendleton was about to begin. The perfect heist was no longer just a fantasy. It was a plan in motion. Arthur's plan grew slowly, piece by piece, over thousands of nights. His broom closet was his office, his notebook a map of the casino's veins, ventilation, wiring, plumbing. He memorized security camera rotations and the 12-second blind spot near the counting room. He learned the habits of the midnight security team. Henderson's coffee break, the distracted technicians. Every human flaw became a crack to exploit. He modified his janitorial tools, a mop handle hiding a magnetic device, a floor scrubber that could emit an electromagnetic pulse, a cloned master keycard. Each step was subtle, explainable. The final challenge, moving $38 million. The answer was in the trash. He studied the waste schedule, then modified 3 trash bins with hidden steel-reinforced compartments. The money would ride out beneath the garbage. Every detail was accounted for. Arthur wasn't just planning a robbery, he was choreographing a dance of human error. The casino's routines would be his camouflage. The trash bins would be his getaway car. The blueprint was complete. December 29, 2025. The casino was quiet after Christmas. At 2 a.m., Arthur began his heist, blending in with his usual routine. He made sure to be seen, creating an alibi in plain sight. At 2:15, he slipped into a staff restroom, attached a device to the phone lines. Internal calls to security would now loop endlessly. 3 minutes later, he was gone, hands washed, panel closed. Next, he used his cloned keycard to put the service elevator in maintenance mode, his private express through the casino. By 2:30, he was in the basement, the casino's nerve center. He fed a looped recording to the cameras outside the counting room and loading bay. For 2 hours, security would see only empty hallways. The stage was set. Arthur moved with quiet confidence, every step rehearsed. The real performance was about to begin. He was invisible, but in total control. The casino's eyes were blind. The staff saw only a janitor. The heist was underway. Every move was calculated. The countdown had started. Arthur was ready. Arthur needed a diversion. At 2:45 a.m., he triggered chaos in the buffet kitchen, spilling flour, setting off a fake fire alarm. Security rushed to the scene. Kitchen staff panicked, and surveillance focused on the commotion. 4 guards were pulled from their posts. The technicians abandoned their game, tracking the emergency. Arthur, calm and unnoticed, moved in the opposite direction. He even helped a panicked worker, playing the helpful janitor. The chaos was his shield. While security scrambled, Arthur slipped toward the vault. The real threat was moving silently. The perfect misdirection was in play. The counting room, the vault, was the casino's heart, a fortress of steel and concrete. Arthur bypassed the main door, entering through a vent he'd prepared for weeks. He crawled through the duct, stopping above the vault. Quietly, he cut a hole in the ceiling, masked by the hum of the HVAC. The room was empty, the cash ready for pickup. He lowered a rope, hoisted up the cash, and transferred it into heavy-duty canvas bags. Cart by cart, bag by bag, he worked in the dark, muscles burning. 45 minutes later, all the cash was in his bags. The vault was empty. Arthur had done the impossible. He moved with precision, every detail rehearsed. The money was his. The hardest part was over. Now he had to vanish. By 3:45 a.m., Arthur had 9 heavy bags, nearly 850 pounds of cash. He loaded them onto his modified cart, covered with trash and cleaning supplies. He took the service elevator to the loading bay, where his 3 altered trash bins waited. The area was deserted, cameras looped. He transferred the cash into the hidden compartments, topped the bins with real trash. At 4:30, a sanitation worker arrived, headphones on, and hauled the bins to the waste truck. Arthur watched from the shadows as the fortune rolled away. He returned his cart, swapped out his tools, wiped down every surface. He changed, clocked out early, and told his supervisor he was ill. He walked out, nodded to security, and drove away. The janitor had vanished. The building was oblivious. $38 million was gone. Arthur left no trace. The perfect exit. The heist was complete. The legend was born. No one suspected a thing. At 6 a.m., the armored truck arrived for the cash pickup. The counting room was empty. No cash, no carts. Confusion turned to panic. Security was called, the casino locked down, and the FBI notified. Rumors spread like wildfire. By 9 a.m., the story was everywhere. Vegas casino. Hit an audacious heist. $38 million gone. No alarms, no violence, no suspects. Investigators were baffled. Security footage showed nothing, just empty hallways. The fire alarm was blamed on flour dust. The phone system showed no errors. The elevator logs were odd, but inconclusive. It was as if the money had vanished into thin air. The city was electrified. The ghost had struck. The investigation was relentless. FBI and police interviewed every employee. Arthur Pendleton's number was disconnected, his apartment empty, rent paid in advance. He had vanished. A week later, a digital forensics tech found a looped camera feed, proof of an inside job. Arthur, the janitor, didn't fit the profile. The next break. A sanitation truck's GPS showed an unscheduled stop at an industrial park. Security footage revealed Arthur transferring bins to a panel van. The driver confessed. Arthur paid him $50,000 to help move the bins, not knowing what was inside. The van was found abandoned, wiped clean. Arthur was gone. The heist was a legend. The casino overhauled security, treating trash like gold. Invisible staff were now watched closely. The trust was broken. The ghost had exposed the system's greatest flaw. The man no one noticed had outsmarted them all. The trail went cold. Arthur Pendleton was never caught. The story became legend. A janitor who outsmarted the system. The casino spent millions on new security, but the lesson was clear. They'd prepared for outside threats, but ignored the one inside. Arthur's heist was a masterclass in exploiting human nature. He used routine, predictability, and invisibility as his weapons. The greatest flaw was the assumption of security. The industry was shaken awake. Daring, meticulous planning had triumphed over billion-dollar systems. Arthur, the invisible man, proved anyone could bring down the house. Somewhere, He may be living in quiet luxury. He was the ghost in the machine. For 2 hours, he was a legend, and the world would never see him coming again.